Hello lovelies, it's me, a melanated oracle, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am doing a pick a card reading based on the new moon in Capricorn happening on January 13th. So while normally I'll kind of just do a short general information, while I was meditating about doing this video, it came to me that I need to kind of go over a little bit deeper, dig in a little bit deeper about the astrology forecast that's really happening around the time of this lunar cycle. So I'm going to be, in a way, starting off with an astrology forecast of what's the energy that's really happening on the 13th, as well as what's happening the week of the 13th. I'm not really going too further than that because there's a lot going on, and I'm really specifically focusing on the things that were really catching my eye when I was looking at charts and everything of that nature. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start in the astrology forecast. I will say, if you're not interested, then you may want to go ahead and skip to the meditation for the piles, but what I was picking up is the astrology forecast is going to make the readings make more sense in a way. So with that being said, you choose to do whatever you want to do. So for those of you who are interested in the astrology forecast, this is kind of going to be everything coming from me. I didn't really take any notes. The only notes I've taken are specific dates and the journal prompts that I've created as well to go along with the energy. So on January 13th, we have a new moon in Capricorn. So of course, with the new moon really being about new intentions, new beginnings and things of that nature, you know, it's glaringly obvious, but it's happening in the sign of Capricorn. And I'm also picking, you know, it's also the start of a new year. So what's really standing out to me is when I was looking and thinking and meditating about the Capricorn energy, because that's what I like to do, and taking a look at everything we have going on, the new moon in Capricorn, while, you know, we're currently still in Capricorn season until January 19th. And Saturn rules Capricorn, and Capricorn is the ruler of the 10th house. What I am picking up on is it's going to be a lot, at least what you should be focusing on is long-term planning, not short-term planning, not short-term manifestation. We need to be thinking about long-term, in the long run. How is it that, you know, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? You know, things of that nature. There's nothing short term about this new moon cycle. There's no 2 weeks and, you know, that's about it. No. This is asking us to look even further ahead, you know, yearly, maybe 3 years, 5. I'm even hearing for some people 20 years, which, you know, isn't going to be in detail, but really just taking a step back and really it's like looking all the way until retirement, which may seem extreme, but this is the energy I'm picking up on. It's like, how are you thinking about the long term? Are you really taking the time to think about it, or are you just kind of going with the flow of day-to-day activities? I'm also picking up on a lot of us are going to be thinking about our public image, the way we present ourselves to the public, in our careers, to people who may not know us, to strangers, but also thinking of how do we want to present ourselves, and how, if any, do we want to change our reality. So I'll use myself as an example. One of my main things this year that I didn't even have a goal for, but it's recently come to, you know, something I've realized that I want to incorporate, is I want to be more of an observer than a reactor. I want to focus more so on observing something rather than reacting to it with my emotions. And I'm also trying to speak and move and act with grace and poise. So that's not something that I've been thinking about for months or years. This is something that's recent. So it's more so looking like that, you know, how is it that you want to come off to people, present yourself, and change if need be, because if you're already that type of person, but that's not something you present to people, you know, say for instance, if you present yourself as a very shy individual, but in reality you're actually an extrovert, you know, things of that nature. Or you're very outgoing, but you know, you present yourself off to you know, as a shy person or a reserved person, but you know, you're actually this, you know, things of that nature. So I see that. I'm also picking up on, because again, Saturn rules Capricorn, is this is really being disciplined about your goals. And because I feel like it's going to be hard. I mean, you know, if you look at recent events already, especially if you live in the new US, it's very, very easy when things are happening externally for us to just forget about our internal and who we've already committed ourselves to be. And so I really get the feeling that this new moon is also going to be asking you, how do you stick to this plan when things aren't going the way you expect it to be? And you know, that's going to be coming up pretty soon. Because it's very easy to slip up when things aren't going the way you plan it to be. They want you, essentially, it's like we need to have this plan of how we want things to look, but we also have to have some flexibility and discipline in order to commit ourselves to it when things don't go exactly as planned, is the best way to put it. So we have that happening on the January 13th. Uranus decides to go direct January 14th, which when I looked at it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. And I'm like, wait a minute. Anytime Uranus decides to move, there's always something that happens. And then it's also deciding to, is going direct in Taurus, which is the ruler of the second house. And Venus also rules Taurus. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, clearly need to be mindful of romantic relationships and relationships overall. There could be some unexpected fights, some unexpected disputes that you don't even know where these are coming from. But if we're looking at the energy of Uranus just kind of being this wild child, we have no idea what it's going to do. It's going to bring some change, you know, no matter what, it's going to bring some change, and something is going to be changing in some way, shape, or form. But it's not, you can't really predict what exactly it's going to do, only where it's going to be happening those changes. And we also have, you know, Taurus is the ruler of the second house, so also it's possible to have some financial shakeups as well that were unplanned. And on top of this happening, we also have Jupiter is going to be square against Uranus on January 17th. Jupiter is still hanging out in Aquarius, which is ruled by the 11th house. It's just like, how do you plan on expanding as well? Because even though we may be having these dips and challenges, there's always going to be more coming, no matter what is happening. There's always this, it's always more in the future, because it's always the cycle of things get rough and then things get good. You lose some and you win some. It's always happening. And so I'm already picking up the feeling like, you know, really focusing on how you want to give to your community, to the world, what legacy it is you're trying to leave. For some, I'm even picking up that you may want to give to charity if you can, especially if you have a financial shakeup and it makes you, you know, really cling to your money, and it makes you just get that lack mentality. Just give, because it counteracts it. It has no choice to, because you're like, but give it in a place where you're not like, oh my God, there goes more money, but like, okay, I know this is going to a good cause. This is me planting a seed, and I'm going to reap the seed in the future. That is the way you want to look at it. You want to be able to give freely, realizing, and you know, really focus on, if you were to give to a charity or an organization, do it to give to one that really matters to you, that you're passionate about, that you think you can really invest, because you this is a community that you care about, it's an organization that you care about, and you feel like you'll be doing good for the collective. So now, with all this energy, there are some journal prompts that are based off of this, because it's a lot going on, and it's going to be easier to really work with it and look at it with these journal prompts. So the first prompt is, how do I handle unexpected surprises, obstacles, / challenges. Because while, yes, we need to have a plan, you can have a plan, but most of the time, what I've noticed personally is we plan, but things never go 100% the way we plan it. Like, yes, that's my goal and this is what I'm going to do, but there's always that outside factor of what the divine is going to do and what's actually going to happen, because we can't control everything. We don't know everything that's going to happen. It's impossible. We're human. We're not God. So that is something that you want to take in consideration. Again, it's these external things happening, but when something external happens that you weren't aware of or you didn't see coming, what do you do internally? Are you this is the perfect way to put it. I love Kendrick Lamar and his album To Pimp a Butterfly. He did an interview. He says, am I going to pimp this situation to my advantage, or am I going to fall victim to the negativity? That is the mindset and mentality you should have when things like that occur. But really sit down with yourself and really, I guess, reflect. I don't want to say talk to yourself, even though that's what you're kind of going to be doing, and say what happens and how do I want to react moving forward. Are there any changes I would like to incorporate into my public image or personality? Again, with this new moon in Capricorn, that's really what I'm picking up. There could also be things in your career as well that you may want to change, but it's really this of how you're presenting yourself to new people and to the public, and personality changes that is sticking out. Again, it could also be incorporated with your career, either a career change or a business or some type of endeavor that's going to help you financially in the future. But this is the main one that is picking up, especially with us still being in Capricorn season until January 19th. Am I prepared for any financial surprises? And this is directly with Uranus deciding to go direct in Taurus, which is the ruler of the second house. How do you handle them? I'm not even going to say, how do you handle financial surprises? Do you immediately freak out? Do you trust things? Do you crumble in this situation when things don't go as you planned? Do you crumble, and then because you're crumbling, everything just starts falling apart? Or do you find that resolve of, it's more than just me in this situation, and that's what I need to lean on, move towards that than just a quick panic and spiral, essentially, because where there's a will, there's a way. And when you really think about it, we live in an abundant universe because we've yet to run out of anything, like not a resource, money, anything. We haven't run out of it yet. So what is the legacy I'm currently creating regarding the collective? So this is a little bit different because this is Jupiter in Aquarius. It's you're expanding and you're creating something, but not just for yourself, but for a community that you're really involved in, that you really care about. What is it that you're creating for them right now? And what is and I say legacy because I feel no matter what, you're going to be remembered for something. So what is it that you're doing now so you're remembered for in the future? And this is tying, of course, into the new moon in Capricorn, ending off with, what are my long-term goals? And I also make note, if it overwhelms you to think in terms of a year or 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, break them down into quarters. So say, for instance, you are looking at your goals for a year. You break them down into the first quarter, January, February, March, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, etc. If you're looking at 3 years, you'll break down the quarters such as that. So that is the general energy that I'm at least seeing from my perspective. I'm not reading anything offline. The only thing I picked up was the dates, and the journal prompts are everything that I created based off of the energy that I'm seeing that I think would genuinely help others when we're going through this time. I did pick up on this random thing that I would not be surprised, because this is happening for a while, Basically the rest of the year. It's going to take a short period, I believe, in the summer, but Jupiter is going to be staying in Aquarius until December of this year, I believe. And I'm also picking up, I'm like, is there going to be another movement or a resurgence of a movement happening this year? But that's for another time. But this is kind of the, I guess, astrology forecast. I don't really want to call it that because I don't really consider myself a predictor of anything. I look at the energy and I observe and I reflect on that. So that's what I consider it. But I guess if we want to be technical, this as the astrology forecast for everything that's happening, really the week of the new moon, and I suppose the next week. Is not everything. There's way more happening, but when I sat down and I reflected on what's happening, this is really what stood out to me. So with that being said, I'm going to probably just jump straight into the meditation. So let's go ahead and get started. That chose pile number 1. This is the reading for you. So let's go ahead and get started. We have first house self, Virgo the perfectionist, Pluto renewal, Vesta devotion, full moon in Aquarius, show the real you. South node, don't let your past hold you back. New moon in Aries, it's time to take action. Freya, receiving. I receive all blessings. Giving and receiving are the cycle of my life. Kali, birth pains. I embrace the divine beauty and the sacred mess of the creation process. We also have the Tower, 8 of Bells, the World, and Dreamer of Bells in reverse. So right off the bat, I see that the new moon in Capricorn is going to be a major key for you. If you watch the astrology forecast, I really spoke about how it was a huge emphasis that I was receiving about the new moon in Capricorn really making you look at your public image and the way you appear. And with you having self, and with you having the first house card, as well as Vesta, which is about devotion, but it's also about self-discipline, because in order for you to be devoted to something, you have to have discipline, along with the Tower, Pluto, renewal, Freya, this card is speaking about giving and receiving are the cycles of life, as well as the world, which also is talking about the cycle of life, especially with these new moon phases kind of going around in a circle. You all are essentially, what I feel, is shedding the old skin, especially with the South node, don't let your past hold you back, and 8 of Bells. You're shedding who you previously were, if that makes any sense, and stepping into who you are now / going to be. And we have this new moon in Aries. It's time to take action. So if you have been wondering if you should start incorporating something into your life, whether that be something about the way you dress, a hairstyle, workout routines to change your body shape, losing weight, gaining weight, any of those things, personality changes, or basically things that you want to let go of, this is confirmation. This is confirmation of, yes, this person that you've been envisioning, and these things that you really just want to let go about yourself, this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. We have full moon in Aquarius, show the world the real you. And I talked about this in the astrology forecast of, you know, really taking the time and really thinking about your public image and seeing if who you present yourself to strangers, to the public now, if that's really who you are. Because that's what you're going to be focusing on. Being authentic and really just stepping into who you really are, not really holding things back because people may be uncomfortable with it. People may call you weird. They may think certain things because of, you know, people thought certain things in the past. So you may have shut that part off. You may have shut that part off because you didn't like the way that it made you feel when people said certain things about who you are and your authentic self. But I see you just finally releasing that and saying, you know what, that was in the past. That's who I really am, and I'm going to transform myself to be proud of who I am, to be proud of my authentic self. You know, not being so critical of yourself, not really trying to view yourself of having to be this perfect individual, but really just saying, I am who I am. And as long as who I am is a good person, that is really all that should matter. And that's the thing that's really most important. As long as who you are, your authentic self, is a good person, that's really all that matters. Nobody's opinions really matters when we really think about it. If you're not doing wrong unto anyone else, then what you do and how you act, it shouldn't really affect anyone. It shouldn't really make them feel a certain way. It really will only make people feel a certain way if they're not being true to their authentic self and who they really are. So if you're walking around with happy being you, and they're walking around pretending, then yeah, they're gonna try to bring you down. They're gonna try to drag you down, essentially. But when you realize who you really are is beautiful and nothing and no one can change that, then that can't be taken away from you. No one can take that away from you once you realize that. That can't change. I think it's beautiful because you're realizing that this isn't going to be such an easy process, because we have the Tower as well as Kali, who's referring to birth pains. I embrace the divine beauty in the sacred mess of the creation process. You're already aware by doing this reflection and really thinking about who you really are and how it is that you want to present yourself. You already know that it's not going to be easy. You already know it may get a little messy. You know, for some of you, I'm seeing that you may just wake up one day and start appearing more and more as yourself, and people may be wondering, why are you acting this way? Why are you being so weird? Why are you acting so different? And you're going to be looking them straight in their eyes and saying, I've always been this way. I just never show people because of how people react. And you're just saying, and I see it getting a little messy where people are like, so why didn't you feel comfortable, telling me about this or showing me this? Or why did you pretend for so long? And them kind of taking it as a personal attack and taking it personally that you're to show up authentically. And I just see that you're not going to let that drag you down. You're not going to let that bring you down anymore. You're not going to let that just kind of turn things tipsy-turvy for you, or your opinion of yourself or how you feel about yourself. Because there are going to be ups and downs in this process. It's going to be messy. You already know that. But you are also seeing the benefits and the blessings that can come from this process. You're seeing the upside. This is a very optimistic pile in a way, because you're seeing how tough things may be, but you are seeing how things can be if you can just get through it. Just shuffle a few more cards. Okay, that flew out instantly. What do we have here? Big Mama. Yeah, you're nurturing yourself. If people aren't going to accept you and be there for you like they should, when you do show up as your authentic self and show up as, this is who I am, and there's nothing wrong with that, you're going to take the time to nurture yourself. And I also am hearing that your guys are really going to take the time to nurture you as well, because they're going to really be feeling a sense of pride of really just seeing you step into your authentic self. Because your authentic self, when you think about it, is also who your highest self is more so aligned with, is who you really are. And they're really going to be proud of you for not allowing outside opinions and outside thoughts and beliefs about you affect the way you feel about yourself. Because you see, Big Mama, she is glowing. She is literally glowing, So just taking the time, give me a couple more cards, Spirit, just to really give them some guidance for this, because I see the new moon is taking a big, again, we got the world. Aunt Caroline, if you don't know, is the world in this deck. So really just realizing that there are cycles within your life. And also for some of you, I'm also hearing that this is who you are going to be right now, but that doesn't mean you can change and you won't change in the future. And I'm not saying that as in like, you know, there's something wrong or you're changing for someone. But you're also thinking like this: if people can't accept me just coming out and being authentic, then they don't need to be here, because there's no way they're going to be able to accept if I decide to change something about myself in the future. That jumped out. 3 of Sticks, really moving forward with your head held high. Yeah, with the Chariot, railroad bill, just there's nothing really stopping you at this point. You're not allowing anyone or anything to stopping you. Again, because we have the grandchildren. And you're also thinking like, if I can't be who I am, how can I tell? Ooh. Okay. So what I just picked up with this, and this may be, oh, right, because in the forecast I was talking about Jupiter is in Aquarius, and one of the things I was picking up, especially with the journal promises, everything, with that really focusing on the collective, is what legacy are you really leaving behind, and things of that nature, especially when it comes to your community. But for you, I'm also seeing family. So with the grandchildren, some of you are also saying, if I can't be authentic in who I am now, how can I encourage my children, my grandchildren, and my descendants to be really, you know, authentic and true to who they are? I can't do it now when I have the opportunity to. How can I tell my descendants and my future, you know, grandchildren and things of that nature, my children, how can I ever tell them? If I'm living in the shadows, how can I ever encourage them to live in the light? And not shadows as in darkness, but, you know, kind of just hiding who you are, hiding aspects of yourself. How can you tell them to really let who they are shine? So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and have a blessed day. Bye. So if you chose pile number 2, this is the reading for you. So let's go ahead and dive in. We have opposition, confrontation, Juno, commitment, Cancer, the caretaker, Fifth house, pleasure, full moon in Sagittarius, look at the bigger picture. Full moon in Scorpio is time to release negativity. Surrender to the divine. Full moon. Hope I'm pronouncing this right, but we have, I believe, Banadea, intuition. I trust my inner wise woman or man. My instincts are connected to my true purpose. And I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Ixchel, birth. Great things happen when I embrace my truth and authenticity. 9 of Tomes. Ace of Candles, 3 of Bells, and Temperance. From the astrological forecast, because I see it tying into this reading. So what's immediately sticking out to me is relationships. This could be, relationships, marriages, engagements, situationships, and also friendships as well. Because we have Juno, which talks a lot about devotion, more so to relationships, more so marriages and long-term relationships of that nature. We have Cancer and 5th house. As long as with opposition. So although I didn't mention this in the astrological forecast, what I did see is that I believe that Mars is going into the sign of Taurus. And so Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is, of course, the planet of love and relationships and things of that nature. And so seeing this energy, I think it's really a time to be mindful of your communications with anyone you're in a relationship with your partner. And you have this full moon in Scorpio, time to release negativity, full moon in Sagittarius, look at nature and surrender to the divine. And also remember that we have Uranus going direct in the sign of Taurus as well. So I see that there could be some arguments. And the thing is, Spirit is really trying to tell you, do not get caught up over the small stuff. Do not sweat the small stuff. And when I say small stuff, it's like they didn't put up the dishes and next thing you know, an argument came up over that, or things like, well, they forgot to do this thing, or it's something that's small. It's nothing major. If it's major, then, you know, of course, look into that, analyze it, you know, work through it. But don't sweat the small stuff, especially with this full moon in Sagittarius. Look at the bigger picture. You don't want to get into things constantly and have confrontation constantly over the small things. Now, if you're getting into things and you realize that these small things that you're getting into is actually is something deeper than that, and it's a problem that's really rooted, then you need to work through that and use the new moon in Capricorn to do that, because we have 9 of Tomes. The new moon in Capricorn is also energy that is speaking about, and is really emphasizing building blocks, building your foundation, especially with this 9 of Tomes card. So make sure that your relationship has the building blocks it needs to be long lasting, to avoid all these confrontation regarding these small things. You want to be unified. You want your relationship to be a place of unity, not separation, not confrontation, especially back to back to back. If there is anything from the past that needs to be let go, then please, by all means, let it go. Don't hold on to it. Don't grasp at straws, especially if it's in the past and you've already told your partner you've forgiven them for it, or they've forgiven you for something, because, you know, relationship works both ways. It needs to be released, because holding on to things will only lead to problems in the long run. I also see that you both, I feel like, need to lean into each other's emotional needs, especially during the time of new moon, since things can get a little heightened, especially with full moon as well. Surrender to the divine. Don't go against the grain just to be going against the grain per se. If you are in a bad spot, then, you know, let that other person know. Even if it's a friend, let that person know, like, I'm kind of in a bad spot right now. Just give me a little bit of space to, like, get into a good spot, and then we can keep going. Because we have, I trust my inner wise woman or man, you know, my instincts are connected to my true purpose, along with this Temperance card. There needs to be a balance on both sides in your relationship in order for things to go well. So also don't expect to not have any arguments at all. You just don't want to be going into it constantly. Again, there's this balance, because disagreements and arguments are going to pop up. But what I see is you need to know if it is worthwhile to when to fight. And I don't say fight as in fighting each other, just be fighting each other, but when something needs to be addressed, more to say, and you need to work through it, and when to essentially lay your sword down. Because this is, you're putting in the building blocks, you know. What is your relationship going to be based on? How is it going to be looking in the future? What are you planting now, so that later in the future it'll bloom and blossom into this beautiful thing? Not saying it's not beautiful now, but, you know, again, with this new moon in Capricorn, we're really looking to the future of how we want things to look. So we also have Excel, I believe. Great things happen when I embrace my truth and authenticity. You both need to be truthful with one another about if there's anything that is lingering from the past. You need to be able to work through it, especially if it causes you any emotional distress. You need to be able to work through it. If you really feel like it's worthwhile, again, let's look at the bigger picture card. Because for you all, it's really, this Uranus is probably going to be bringing up and dragging some things that you weren't even expecting, or that you weren't even expecting to put your attention to, and when it gets kind of close to that time, even before that time, even after, because it's always this long lasting, this effect further than the actual like time where the planets are actually moving. You just want to be mindful, especially again, we have Uranus in Taurus going direct, and we also have Mars in Taurus, watching out for any fiery communication, any conflict over small things, if it's nothing rooted deeper than that. Being able to look at your relationship how you wanted to look at it in the future, how you look at it as a whole, and really just catering to each other's needs, really taking the time to deepen your understanding of each other is really what I'm feeling of your relationship. Even if your relationship is good, it can always go deeper. You can always understand someone more, because your partner is going to change. Your partner isn't going to stay the same. And so either some confirmations or additional messages from Spirit. Okay, what do we have? We have Big House and Free Man. So I think this is, especially with the Big House, if you're looking through things through rose-tinted glasses just because you don't want to work through some things because you realize how hard they may be, it's time to take those things off. Because the only way your relationship is going to move in the way it should, without any restrictions and anything from the past holding it behind. By the way, the layout's a little different because I picked up all the cards and then realized I forgot to shuffle the additional cards. It's only going to be able to do that by really working through the things that need to be worked through. And again, if you're getting into small arguments and fights, make sure it's not because there's something that you need to take a closer look at. Look at the bigger picture, of course, but there are small details that need to be addressed. Address them. We have 4 of Knives. So some of you, when you're going through this time, it may be better, especially Ace of Baskets, especially if emotions start running high and things are getting heated. It may serve you, both of you, to really take a step back, take some deep breaths, relax a little bit, and then reconvene. It's really going to be about balance for you with your relationships. Again, this is including friendships as well. All this can apply to friendships. It may help just to take a step back and really reflect and calm yourself down and move forward that way, rather than just going when emotions are running at an all-time high. But it's all about balance again, on both sides, with both people, both parties, and the relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic. So that being said, this was the reading for my pile number 2s. If you enjoyed this reading, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and have a blessed day. Bye. So, pile number 3, this is the reading for you. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We have Gemini, the Investigator. Tension, Square. Sextile, Potential. Aquarius, the Diplomat. You're very close to achieving your goal. Gibbous Moon. Conclusions are within reach. Full moon eclipse, a time to give rather than take. New moon in Virgo. Juno, vulnerability. I am strong enough to open my heart, be myself, and express my raw emotions. I know the pronunciation of this goddess's name deep down, but I do not know it off the top of my head. This is the goddess, essentially divinity. Let me clarify. Divinity of Earth, a representation of Earth in African ATRs, things of that nature. At least in one of them, let me clarify. And she says, having a voice, I speak my life into existence. My voice has power. We have Justice, Dreamer of Tomes. Okay, I see where this is going. 8 of Tomes, yep. And Mystic of Candles. So there's 2 ways this can go. I feel like some of you are really, especially with this new moon in Capricorn, planting the seed so you can go this way. And I feel like for others of you, you have planted seeds in the past where this new moon cycle, and this may have something to do with Jupiter being in Aquarius, you're actually going to be harvesting. You're going to be reaping what you've sowed. So we have all this energy right here. We have Gemini, Square, Sextile, and Aquarius, which is so conflicting. And I can't help but imagine if some of you are either feeling conflicted because of two things. A, you're waiting to see your goals. You're waiting to see, your achievement. You're ready to see that harvest, like you're ready now. And it's simply not yet. Because we have conclusions are with each, and you're very close to achieving your goal. Not here's the conclusion, here's the goal. And for others of you, you're feeling conflicted about what seeds you should plant. You're going to have to do a lot of analytical reflection about yourself to figure that out. Or actually, because I have this right here, because what I'm seeing is a lot of people are going to be putting a lot of work into what it is they're trying to bring into fruition, what it is they're dreaming of. And for others of you, those of you who have planted the seeds, you're like, okay, I did the work. It's time to balance the scales. When is it coming to me? When is it happening? And so can I get it first? Let me get a confirmation for people who are yet to plant it. Oh, so we have the bones. Let me get one more for them. For those who are wondering and struggling, again, this is guidance, general message. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Nine of Knives. Okay, so I actually picked up a completely different message when I pulled that card. Oh, how do I even want to word this? Some of you want to use your voice. Both of these cards actually has to deal with voice, because this is Judgment and then we have Nine of Knives. But what I'm really picking up is you want to use your voice to spread the truth, is what I heard for some. Using your voice to spread your truth. Using your voice to spread a truth. So picking up skills of public speaking, being an author, a writer for some. It has a lot to do. Oh yeah, because Gemini, is the ruler of the third house. So it has a lot to do with communication to the collective, to a community. For some, I'm even hearing politics actually. And again, take what resonates. Those of you who are unsure, that is what I'm seeing. It's dealing with communication. It's dealing with things that with spreading a truth in a way. And I feel like some of you may have even been inspired by recent events that have happened, especially if you live in the US. So that is for you all. I'm getting more so of this energy. If you're feeling conflicted and you're unsure where to go, but you want to work on your skills and you have a dream, you have to first get confidence in these skills before pursuing them, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of public speaking, a lot of writing and things of that nature. Especially if you're doing it about injustices as well, for those of you who this is resonating with. If you're doing it for injustices, you need a lot of confidence, and you also need confidence in your truth and your belief. And also, really, we have, I am strong enough to open my heart, be myself, and express my raw emotions, and I speak my life into existence. My voice has power. So speak those things into existence. Say that you are an author, a public speaker, a politician, whatever that may be, and you are spreading your truth, and you are strong enough, because let's be honest, if you're doing that, you're gonna get a lot of hate. You're gonna get a lot of hate. You are strong enough to be resilient against that hate, because you know in your heart that is your truth. And that is a truth, especially if we're talking about injustices, because there's always a right and a wrong side when it comes to injustices, especially what we're seeing and observing now. So that is what I'm seeing for this group. Now, for the others of you who you've really taken the time, you're like, I planted these seeds already. When is it going to be here? Really, all I can say is it's close. Like, yes, the universe has already realized, the divine has realized how much work they put in. They're not being unfair to you in any way, shape, or form, although some of you may be taking it that way. They're not, they realize, but it's close. So what is, and then we have a time to give rather than take. So you may even have to put in a little bit more, give in a little bit more before that conclusion is coming. And you may feel like you don't have to, but it's not about what you feel like you don't have to. It's about getting things done that needs to be done. So what else do they need to do? Or I guess the better way is what is blocking them. We have free man. All right, so if any of you are feeling restricted in any way, that is going to block you. And that can be in really if you're feeling restricted in any way, that can block you, and that can be in any area of your life. Blockages in one area of your life can cause and create blockages in another area of your life. Give me some more information on what these blockages are, because they're ready. They just need to know what else needs to be done. What is it that they need to overcome? Things of that nature. Like, ooh, I'm getting tingles. Okay, so yeah, they need to keep pushing forward. I realize that, because we have a railroad bill. Oh, because we have 3 of sticks, railroad bill, 3 of 6, railroad bill, and then we have Big Mama. Okay, so this may be a factor into why you're really struggling with your conclusions, your manifestations, your success, whatever you want to call it. You're way too deep into the masculine energy. I feel like what's happening is some of you have a tight grip on it like this, about what you want and how you want it and the way it's going to come to you. And you're not leaning into that feminine energy of being able to receive. Because although we have a time to give rather than take, oh, that's why we have a time to give rather than take. That new moon in Virgo, because you have such a tight grip like this. They're trying to get you to lean more into that feminine energy. And in that feminine energy is this free, it's this like you can give things freely but also receive things freely as well. And if you're not leaving any wiggle room for spirit to do what it needs to do, for the divine to do what it needs to do, you're saying that if it doesn't come in this way, shape, and form, then it's not that, then it's incorrect, it's wrong, it's not going to happen. Then you can't get it. If you are dead set on how something should appear in your life, you're not leaving any flexibility at all. And again, I spoke about this in the astrology forecast. You can have a plan, but you need to leave some flexibility in there for when things aren't going exactly the way you're expecting them to go, because that's impossible, because we're human. Then it's just simply not going to work. Again, it's how are you handling all of these external things that you have no control over. For some of you, I see that you're still trying to have control over that situation. You're like, nope, I'll just keep doing it this way, and if I just keep doing it this way and I just keep going, then it'll come to me the exact way I said it would, and the way I'm expecting it to. If you're not able to leave any wiggle room and lean more into your divine feminine, more into this nurturing, just like, yes, I trust, I believe, it's you know what, let me take my hands off and just see what you're able to receive when you do that, and see how the scale balances out when you just allow. That's the thing, lean into allowance. You don't have to have control over everything. Things will still work out even if your hands aren't in it. With that being said, if you enjoyed this reading and you feel called to, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and have a blessed day. Bye.